Hello and welcome. This is the second video in my series walking through the problems from the ModelOff Financial Modeling World Championships. Today I'm going to be looking at another case from round 1 from 2013. So below this video and all the videos in this series you'll find a link to this shared folder where you can access all the questions that I'm going to be looking at. I'm up to 2018 right now. I still have to post the finals questions and 2019, but right now in the videos I'm still in 2013. So I'm in 2013, round 1 is what I'm looking at this week. So today I'm going to be looking at this energy operations question. So you can find the instructions here, the template workbook here, and once I've finished it, I'm going to post the sample solution from today up here. So like I said, I've done one already, which is this acquisition financing one. You can see the solution model to that there. Just to quickly mention, I'm not going to do videos for the multiple choice questions. I don't think they'd make for very good videos. They're mostly either things that you can Google, like which of these is relevant for DuPont analysis, or things that you can just put into Excel and see what happens, like which of these would give you the equivalent of this if you put it into Excel. So I don't think those would make great videos. The other one, and I think it's the only non-multiple choice question exception, but I'm not planning to do a video on this financial statement question either. I have posted a solution here. Unfortunately, I can't credit it because I don't know who created it, but I found it among my old files. It wasn't me. But that solution kind of, walks through it, works toward answers to all the questions. It's a pretty technical topic, and honestly, I just don't feel like I can add very much to what's in that solution, so I'm not going to make a video on that one. So for this round, I'm just looking at section 2 and section 4. Most of the rounds, I'm planning to do all the questions except the multiple choice question. Speaking of which, I guess just a quick preview. So next week, I'm going to try and tackle all the 3 questions. Again, not including the multiple choice questions from 2013 round 2. So just a quick preview of what's to come. There's one case on M&A modeling, one case on cash flow forecasting, and one case on data analysis with a sort of lean toward pivot tables. So that's what's coming up next week. One last piece of housekeeping, and I mentioned this yesterday, my goal for all of these videos is for the length of the entire video, including any chit-chat at the start and whatever, to be within the target length of the question, which in this case is a 35-minute question. So that's partly to force me to kind of build as under competition conditions, and partly to force me to keep my introductions and my conclusions brief. So one last thing introductory, which is if you watched my video yesterday, you'll have seen that I goofed up a couple of times, and even at the end of the video I couldn't work out what I was doing wrong on the last question. It turned out to be a simple thing, but anyway. I decided to leave I debated kind of either editing it out or re-recording that part or something. I decided to leave it in for a couple of reasons. Number one, because if you've ever built a financial model, then you'll know that debugging or finding the error is a big part of that in real life. So the standard I'm going to hold myself to is not to never put up anything that has a mistake in it, but basically if I can kind of find the mistake and still be within my kind of time limit target, then I'm happy to post it. Or if I can't find the mistake, but it's a simple fix that doesn't require a lot of explanation, like I accidentally referenced this cell instead of that cell, then what I'll do is I will fix it in the solution model that I post, and in the video notes down under this video where I put all the links and stuff, and in the solution file I'll put some kind of a note explaining what changes I made versus what I uploaded. Like I said, partly that's just because that's part of the real life experience, and partly it's also just to manage my time commitment, because I would like to be able to, crank out, for example, 3 of these problems next week, and kind of ideally keep going at a rate of 1 round per week from there. And I'm not going to be able to do that if I let the great be the enemy of the good and start working toward perfect videos. So that's the plan. Just briefly to mention, this sheet with the list of all the questions is in that same shared folder, in the root folder, and as I post the videos I'll be putting the links to them up here. So again, NAs for the ones I'm not doing, but this solution video link column should grow as we go. Anyway, that's all the preamble. I've used up almost 5 minutes of my time already, but hopefully I can make that back. So what are we doing? We're doing energy operations modeling. We're forecasting the performance of a solar photovoltaic business. They buy rooftop solar panels, install them on people's houses in Australia. They sell the electricity generated to the owners of the houses and then back to the main electrical grid at different prices. So we're asked to calculate a forecast of the installed capacity, the actual generation of electricity, the purchasing and installation costs, and the revenues from generation. A few notes on terminology, which I guess I'll go through just in, whoops, don't want to add a comment. Kilowatt is a measure of electrical power. So like, how quickly an appliance consumes or generates energy. Kilowatt hour is a measure of energy, so the work done by a power of 1 kilowatt for 1 hour. So for example, a small electric heater might operate at a power of 2 kilowatts. In 3 hours operation, it would consume 2 kilowatts times 3 hours is 6 kilowatt hours of electricity. Now we're interested in generation rather than power being used up here, but same idea, kilowatts and kilowatt hours. And I think most of the other, there's all the kind of financial assumptions are written out here, but I think they're mostly in this workbook. Oh yeah, I forgot. So this is like the first step. I mentioned before that, like, the acquisition finance one, I had to like type in all the assumptions myself. This time they laid out the model but asked us to type in the numbers. It's really weird. They stopped doing weird things like this later, but anyway, okay, fine. So small systems cost $5,000. Large systems cost $8,000. Installation cost per system is 500 Australian dollars. And again, you'll see the good kind of unit labeling here. That's helpful. Small system capacity, 3 kilowatts. Large system capacity, 5 kilowatts. Generation when new, kilowatt hours per day. Here we are, 4 kilowatt hours of electricity per day per kilowatt of rated capacity. And annual degradation is 1%. And then tariff A for small systems, it says somewhere down here. Yes, houses with a small system will purchase 10 kilowatt hours of electricity from the company at tariff A, and houses with a large system will purchase 15 kilowatt hours per day. So 10 for the small, 15 for the large. Then tariff A price in the base year starts at 0.25 and escalates each 1st of July by 2%. And tariff B starts at $0.08 and does not escalate, so 0%. And then for whatever reason we had to type in these numbers. These numbers are filled in. So this is the number of small systems installed and large systems installed on each of these dates. So basically for the first 2 years, 24 months, we're building, the model, we have to forecast. Sorry, I think I skipped over that in the instructions. We have to forecast for 10 years. So from the 1st of July 13 to the 30th of June 23, we're going to do a monthly model. And I think that's kind of everything we need. The exchange rates are all here. So let's dive on in, build a model. I mentioned before, because I'm working under the time constraints, I'm going to try and keep it, realistic. So I'm not going to do a whole lot of formatting. I don't know why I just put in model there, but anyway, whatever. So I guess let's start with installation. And actually, again, as with yesterday, first thing I'm going to do is month end. So the first period in the model is July 2013. And actually, sorry, let me just check. These dates are actually the start of the month, so let me just make it month start. It'll be a little easier to use those dates as they are. So I guess I'm just going to link that one there. I don't love that, but better than not linking anything at all. And then a thing I've mentioned before, but I'm a bit of a stickler for different formula from the rest of the row, so I'll do that. And then we're going to do eDate from there by, let's do sequence. So I need 10 years, which means 120. I've got one already, so 119. And then again, we'll format those as dates. Again, I've imported the kind of ModelOff standard formats here, but whatever standard formats you want to use is fine. Just pick something and ideally be consistent over time. Okay, so that's the month start added in. Then I'll just make a couple of narrow columns because I find that helpful. So that the logic here is basically, only the section headers will be in the first column, so you can quickly, control up and down to get to those, and then, group labels might be here, and then details. So let's start first with the number of systems installed. So systems installed, and we've got two types, small and and large. I'm just going to say some ifs of this lock where this lock is this lock. I want to get rid of that. Oops. By the way, if my keyboard shortcuts seem weird to you, I do have a video somewhere. I might remember to post in the links, although since I'm in the middle of a video, I more likely won't, where I walk through the keyboard shortcuts I tend to use. If you just search for it on YouTube, I'm sure you'll find it. So anyway, so that's the number of small and large generators installed. So then we're interested in capacity installed. Well, let's say, yeah, let's go straight to degrade. Well, capacity installed, capacity added, which is just going to be this. Sorry, where do I have it? Yes, I have it, small and large. That's helpful. So just make it this times this. So that's all good. And then what I'm interested in is degraded capacity. Now, I think I might have glazed over the details a little. So panels degrade over time. When they're brand new, they operate at 100% efficiency. So in other words, if their rated capacity is 3 kilowatt hours, they operate at 3 kilowatt hours. And then they decline on a diminishing value basis, meaning a constant percentage amount every month, so that on a given day the efficiency in 12 months time will be exactly 99% of its current efficiency, and you need to determine the appropriate monthly degradation rate. So I'll put in a new line here, and I'll say monthly degradation percent per month. And that is going to be 1 minus this is the 99% to the power of 1 over 12. Sorry, so 1 minus again. But actually, sorry, let's just make it monthly degradation factor. So in other words, this is the percent of the previous months that you have in any given month. And the way I get this is just that to the power of 12. 12 months in a row of that gets you to exactly 99%. Okay, so then degraded capacity, small and large, and here actually, good practice to have a few empty columns in between your labels and your model, so you have space to reference back. And I'm going to, because I'm going to reference empty cells, I'm going to fill those in, because I think that's good practice, so you don't accidentally screw around with them later. So then my degraded capacity is going to be your previous capacity times this reduction factor plus whatever my newly installed capacity that month is, which is F12, sorry, F13. Copy down and across. So we can see obviously it goes up as we're installing new stuff, and then a quick way to do a sense check is just hit F11 and you should see this sort of exponential. Well, it doesn't look like exponential because the scale is so small. But anyway, you see that gradual diminution. You can also just kind of check something like this. Once you've got past the installation period, if I take that over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, March over March, I get, hopefully, my 99% exactly. Okay, so that's working well. That's my degraded capacity, and I should label that kilowatts. So then my generation is going to be, I'm just going to label these Alt F3 to name, I'll just call it types. And then let's just make this equals types. Make that equal types, and make this equal types. So my generation in kilowatt hours, it's just going to be this times that. Sorry, that's my generation per day. Well, actually, no, let's just go straight to it. So it's that times the number of days in the month, which is, well, one way to get the number of days of the month is the day of the end of the month. So EO month from there 0 is the end of the month 0 months ahead, in other words the end of this month, and the day of that is the number of days in the month, and I don't need that other bracket. And then we can copy that across. So that's my generation in kilowatt hours. Boom, 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 boom. And then I guess I'll go straight on to my, I call this installation. I'm actually really jumping onto capacity here. So let's do the rest of the installation piece, which is installation cost and I guess purchase cost. So system cost in USD, whoops, types, whoops, it's just going to be this times this. And then system cost, because we want everything in Aussie dollars, types. So our FX rate we have down here. So let's see, this is 1 Aussie dollar is equal to this many US. This is 1 US is equal to this many Aussie dollars, which is what we want. So it's going to be this times XLOOKUP. Let's say basically what I'm trying to account for is there's no FX rate after here. So here's what I'll do. I'll say if this equals 0, then 0. Otherwise, this times, because part of the logic is I wanted in a world where, there was, where this went on further than the FX rate table, for example, I wanted to throw an error if I'm trying to convert something and failing. So I don't want to just wrap it in an if error or something like that. So anyway, that times XLOOKUP, this state here, lock that in this table here, and I want this column, which is 1 US dollar buys how many Australian, rather than the other way around. So I'll copy that down and across, and we're away. And then installation cost. Again by type, and put total here and here. Oops. Okie dokie. And then this one is just number of systems installed times the $500 per system. Alrighty. So now we've got our capacity added to grade capacity generation. So I just put in a different section here. We'll call this generation, I guess. And then revenue is our last thing. Revenue. So all our total small system installed base will buy 10 kilowatt hours per day per system. So I guess tariff A sales by type, and that is going to be, so the total installed base, I can just use sum from there, lock in the F. So in other words, what's happening there, as I carry it across, this range expands and remains anchored over there. So that'll always give me the total installed base times this guy here. And I'm going to lock just the column because I'm going to copy the formula down and I wanted to point down to that next one, times the number of days in the month, which again, we can do as day, EO month. If I was building a kind of quote-unquote real model, I would probably just have month start and end dates, or maybe even number of days in the month as a counter up here, but this is fine. Day of EO month, that's 0. That is my tariff A sales in kilowatt hours, right? Yes. And then my tariff B sales is everything else, obviously. And actually here it makes sense to have total also. And then this should just be total generation minus what goes into A. Oh, I need to make this a little wider. And a quick sense check is just, do any of these go negative? And the answer is no, none of them do. So that's a good thing to know. All right, so then tariffs. So tariff A, B. So I start off at these values, which they gave us to 4 decimal places, so I guess I'll follow that. And again, I'm going to make this one a different color from the rest. And then we want this to escalate on the 1st of July, or not for the one that doesn't escalate, obviously. So let's just do this so I can keep my dates in sight. Now, you'll see there's actually no assumption in here for the 1st of July, which there really should be, so I'll just say month for escalation. Unit, it's just month, number, year. And I'll just grab, I guess, this one and make that a 7. So in the month of July, we escalate. So then we're going to say this times if month of this equals escalation month, then 1 plus this, otherwise 1. That's all, yes. And then again, give me 4 decimal places. So then 1st of July next year, we should see that tick up. All right, I thought for a second it didn't, but yes, it's just because there's only 1 decimal place changing. And if we carry on, again, I'll just do the quick hit F11 to get a chart. You can see that's stepping up every year, which is about what we want. And this one, you can just look at the max and min stats down at the bottom. It doesn't change. That's good. Okay, so then revenue. So I guess we'll do A and types, and well, I guess A total, B and types, B total. So it's this times this. And this is, sorry, revenue in AUD. And then B, I'm going to point to here and here. And then a grand total. Sorry, don't want to confuse myself by using sum because I'm only summing the totals. All right. So I think that's everything that I need to answer the question. So let's go try answering some questions and see how it goes. So Q and A, how many questions are there here? Usually not a lot in the early years. 3, 4, 5. That's it. Just 5 questions. Okay. So 5. Question 1. What is the total cumulative rated capacity pre-degradation of all systems as at 15th September 2014? Okay. So I guess maybe I should have put that in, but never mind. As of, sorry, what date? September 2014. I think it said installations happen at the start of the month. Whoops, daisy. Or at the beginning of the month. Yes. Okay, so all systems are installed on the first day of the month and begin generation instantly. So in other words, what's there on the 15th of September is just everything up to and including the 15th of September. And what was the question? Total rated capacity. Okay, so that is the sum of the capacity added in each period up to and including September of 2014. That is 6087, so closest to D. Next, what were the total purchasing and installation costs in AUD for the business? Pick the closest answer. So again, total system cost in AUD and installation cost in AUD. And that is about 21 million, so that's A. Oops, Okay, next, what is the total electricity generated post-degradation by all the systems in the calendar year 2016? So, generation in 2016. So all the way back to here. Should have put in a total, but never mind. It is that number, which is 16.2 million. Oh, no, we have a full accurate number, 154,169. Okay, so that's A. Question 4. What is the tariff A price per kilowatt hour in February 2022? Tariff A price 2022 February, back a little bit. Well, it's going to be the same all through the year. And we want how many decimal places? 4 again. Oh, sorry. 2929. Oop. What? That's interesting. Tariff A price per kilowatt hour. Am I doing something totally nonsense here? Starts off there. Maybe I got the escalation timing wrong. So, sorry, February of 2020. So if we start in July of 13, so then February of 14, there should be no escalation. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, so there should be 6 years of escalation. So it should be this times 1 plus this to the power of 6, just as a sense check, 2815. That is not what I have, so there is something wrong going on here. Let's take a closer look. Or maybe I just looked in the wrong place. February of 2020. I did do that to myself yesterday, looking in the wrong place. 2815. Okay, never mind. Model DE. So I must have looked at February of 22. I did. Okay. All right, never mind. I'm stupid, but that's fine. 2815, so that's B. And question 5, what is the total revenue earned from tariffs in the month of December 2019? Total December 2019, 326705. Come on. Yes, that's A. Okay. So DAABA, hopefully I'm right. DAABA, yes. 6087, yes. All right, cool. So that one actually checked out. So that's all I got for today. Like I said, I will be back next week, hopefully with the full set of questions from round 2. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.